Back in my day, we didn't have YouTube. We had MTV. So today, since all the fuss about MTV, I figured I'd make MTV logo and talk about MTV. How many more times do I need to say it?
3.
Tell my wife I'm ready to get busy, and she's like, "You're ready to get busy, and mine is two totally different things." It's the age difference. But yeah, we're gonna make the MTV logo. I'm using old stick of gold, 10 mil for the outside, for the M. And I got a piece of 8 mil ruby red for the TV. I've already bent this in my head, so. Starting right in the center. I hand drew this, and I want these to be the same, so I'm going to bend this one and then draw it down here so they match as best they can, because this is handmade. Okay. So my first bend is right in the center. This is older glass, classic glass, so you got to kind of start up high. And then, you know, as you work it, see it already starting to change color? If you work it for a while and you don't notice any problems, you don't have to do what I just did. It's good to go in easy. This is 10 mil glass, so I'm staying about, I'll heat it up down here, then I move it up to about 3.5 inches. See it turning nice and red? Bend, puff. Every day after school, MTV was on. You couldn't look up videos. If you wanted to see or hear your song, you had to wait for it. I always try to bend away from myself. Make sure you got clearance. I'm gonna do the left side first. Staying up high still, even though this glass is kind of warm. High to low to medium. You can do this all in the crossfires, but I get better videos over here in the ribbon burner. This glass is cool because it turns its color when it's ready. We're getting close. Takes longer to heat up, cools down faster. Cracks constantly. It's more expensive. Box to box don't match color wise. Pain in the butt. But the color effect from this glass, this old glass, or the classic glass they call it, is awesome. So we deal with it. It's part of the deal. Like when you're bidding a job to do this stuff, you add that in. You factor all them points in that I just said. Bring it up high. Now, before I get too crazy with this, I'm going to let this cool and make the TV. That way this can cool, and then I can use the center of that to copy to the bottom so they look right. My adapter for the 8mm is this is the back side of a straight boot. And it's perfect for 10mm, but I have to add a piece of tape so I can use it with 8mm. Then this will slide right on. Then I got another one with a cork in the big end. The small end will go right in, cork the 8mm glass. Handmade tools are the best because you buy all this stuff and then you burn it. Yep, make the stuff. Okay. The key first. Want to make sure I got enough for both letters. I'm just doing a double back. When the stick's straight, you can just spin it. The goal is to get all of it evenly heated. So if you're going to do 2 seconds on this side, do 2 on that side. 2, 2. You know, and then once it starts to get hot, you can, this glass, you can just see it. Do you bend, puff? Sometimes I'll blow on my bends so they harden, so I can go faster. I don't know why. I'll be in a hurry sometimes. This is always a good trick. Put 2 lines on the bottom stick where you want your glass to fall at. And like when you're doing a housing, going straight up. You want your housing to go straight up in between them 2 lines. That's a good way to make, you can look at that instead of having to look at your pattern. Now you mark your glass. I always like, don't always, but I like to preheat over here when I do my drop. And then I will switch to this over here. I haven't bent glass all day. I just decided I wanted to come in and make this. And I haven't turned on my fires or adjusted anything, so we're just going at it. It's harvest time, if you know what I mean, and we've been at home doing our thing. So now this will be a double back. Normally I would have switched this around, but I don't have tape over here, so I just got to deal with this. Even looking at my pattern, I'm going to change my angle. When I do this double back, this is going to come straight this way, and I have enough space for that ought to happen comfortably. $8 ruby red coated. You can weld this to a piece of colored glass, or glass that you're going to put argon in. It'll still light up red. So if I took the powder out, it would be very dim. Your bend. I'm going to be close to the T. Now I'm going to do the V. Now I got to hold the glass all crazy, but that's just part of the game. Turn my pattern. This is going to fall in that direction. When you come over here, hope my blow hose don't screw me. So I'm heating everything up from line to line. And you'll see it get hot because this glass changes. And then as it starts to get hot, I'll just kind of focus on the center more. Bring it around, puff. One time I puff. Now I'm gonna adjust everything. Now I'm puffing. Okay. Couldn't make my decision. I do this by hand, so. This is the bottom part of the V. Eight mil glass heats up. These are perfect for this tiny glass. Get it all hot. I'm already starting to do my bend. Puffing. Looking at my pattern at the same time while I'm looking at the glass that I'm bending. This is turning out pretty cool. Okay. The bottom of my tee. Use a sharp file. Now I'm gonna have to use this tape probably on that. I use my sander to sharpen my file. I probably sharpen my file every couple of days, depending on how much I'm bending. Next couple of days, I'm gonna be cranking some glass out. Now this is gonna have to do a double back, and then I want to connect it to the other glass. That'll be tricky. Set that over there. Now my M's probably cool enough where I could take this, and it's almost pretty much the same, but I'm just gonna line it up in the center. There. That's all I needed to do. Plug your glass. So my next bend is right here. Block, glass, clear path. Still don't trust this glass, so I'm starting up high. Seen a lot of cool stuff on MTV. I think my favorite show out of all the shows would probably have been Liquid Television. Or, wasn't Ren and Stimpy on MTV first? Or was that Nickelodeon?
Nickelodeon.
All right.
Liquid Television.
Yeah, Liquid Television.
A bunch of stuff with Liquid Television. Aeon Flux, The State, Dead at 21. That was an awesome show.
But that right there was the beginning of the downfall. Let's bring MTV back. You tell me, if there was a station where all they played was videos all day long, all our cool videos, all the cool stuff, we'd all be watching.
They don't play videos.
YouTube would be hurting. I would wait all day. There was a Twisted Sister video I never got to see until YouTube came out. I waited every day to see the stupid Leader of the Pack video. A Twisted Sister doing a cover song, Leader of the Pack. Finally, got to see it on YouTube once. Man, I would wait for hours to catch that video on MTV.
That's why people switched.
That's why people switched.
Wait up late to watch Headbangers Ball. Just sneak out.
Gotta mark this stuff in the right. I'm skipping this bend. I'm gonna bend the rest of it and then do this bend line. The bend that I'm skipping, I got 3 lines. The rest of them I'm doing 1. Just so I know which one I'm gonna skip. Everybody comes up with their little tricks that help them bend and come up with a good product. You just have to make your own tricks that work for you. Because that's the key, marking the glass in the right spot so when you bend it, it bends where you want it to. Trying to follow the top, so I'm just gonna do flat bends, flat bends. Starting to be more comfortable with this glass. I'm gonna preheat this here. This is kind of funky. Once it starts to move, I'm gonna go to the other fire. See that? Focusing on the outside, now I'm going to focus on the center. Start to do my bend it. Remember when you're bending, the glass cools really fast, so yeah. And then I forgot what I was doing. That's why you want your fires hot. Get your fires hot. Bend the glass, heat it up fast. If you're taking forever to heat up the glass, you're gonna forget what you're doing by the time you go to do it. You want that stuff to get hot, quick. Kind of focusing next to my line because everything is hot. So I'm gonna get that all hot and then just, now it's moving good, I'll go over here. Puff. Here's your block, if you remember. Back over here. I got her blocked.
You do. Stop.
You already know Headbangers Ball was my show. And then all the unplugs. Probably my favorite unplugged would be Alice in Chains or Page and Plant. I don't know if Page and Plant was really an unplugged, but I tell you, that was on MTV. That was some quality stuff back in the day. Then All right, now we gotta flip it. Gotta go to there, and then my last bend, and then weld them together. See how it looks. That was the glass. Touching the ribbon burner. Probably the only news I ever paid attention to was MTV News. Ever. Never watched, really paid attention to the regular news unless there's like a fire down the road. I wanted to see what was happening. But I tell you what, when the MTV News came on, everybody was listening. Or I was listening. So you can do these over here. Since you're over here.
Stuck in this corner.
Don't want to go past your lines. What's up? You don't have to do all that crazy rotating. And you can tell when the glass gets hot. This glass is so cool to work with. If it works for you. Double back.
I'm getting around to this done.
Close. And I'm just gonna like do this. Now this will have an electrode welded on it. Doing these final two bends. And switch.
Sorry.
Make sure your screen is where you need it. Top and bottom. You know, I really like bending in the ribbon burner. What can I say? You bend. Huh? There's a watch. Tick tock, tick tock. double back. All right. There we go. Up. Now this is gonna be where the TV connects. Now, final bend of the M. And it's hot over on this end. Of course, you can see it glowing. And it's ready. Glass just cools down so fast. And I didn't really have any spot to touch because that's hot. There we go. M.
Take
Right. Now we're going to pause for a second. This is cool. I love it. Welding on my mercury trap. 5mm glass. This glass heats up a little faster, so you got to let this go first. Then you touch them together when they're hot. Puff. Keep pressure in there. Rotate. I'm heating up next to it. If I blew my bubble on this side of the weld, it'd pop when I sealed it off. Now I'm going to weld it onto the M. I'm using 10mm. I normally use 12mm electrodes, but that's 8mm glass, the TV part. So I'm using 10mm electrodes. Kind of letting everything get a little warm. This glass gets hotter faster than, or takes longer than the electrode, so I gotta play in and out with the electrode. Now, the other side. Cool enough. Come over here. Do my final bend and then I weld them together. Alright, do these like that, so I gotta hold it like this. hovering up here. It's already turning black. Slowly go down in. Close it up. This heats up quick. Even though it's plastic glass, it's the newer stuff, so. Do it then. Okay. I got a hole right here. Just welded this electrode on. Alright, cut it off. Grab a new one. Good noise. Clean up the edge with a file. That's why it's important to practice your weld. When you're ready, touch them together. Much better. Just there's my TV. There's the T, and that's the V. Now I got to cut it here. I'm going to cut this first. Cut on the inside of my bend. Move that electrode, turn that off. And then I'm going to mark where I need to cut the other piece. There I am. Mark it. Don't really need to cut it. Yeah, I just like cutting on the bottom side. Less stress on the bend. Find your mark. Probably find it with my thumb. Right there. Score it. Tap it. Yep. There's my mark. Probably should have sharpened my file. My little towel. Break it off. This is a microfiber towel. I remember.
Oh, you said it.
All right. Now I gotta turn these around. Get a little bit of powder out. There's a phosphor in there. You got to get a little bit out so you can get a good weld. You know, when it's hot, I use the tip of a cork, and then you got to blow on it. Make sure you got nothing in the tube. Then you test it. Hold it up there. Get everything ready. That is a tight fit. I think I can cut a little more off of this. No. All right. So the gold glass is bigger. So you got to get that hotter. And I'm holding them in opposite hands, so that's kind of tricky. Touch them together, puff. Okay. Now I'm going to heat everything up. Bring it around. Dun, 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 dun. MTV. All right, now got to add some mercury. Just about a Tic Tac's worth or less, right there. That's all you need. That's gonna end up in the bubble, and it'll stay there until after the tube is processed. Takes a couple seconds, but like, since the tube's hot, it builds up pressure, or I don't know, a vacuum, I guess. It sucks the mercury right into the bubble. I have quite a long stem on here for some reason.
It's easier to hook to the manifold that way.
Almost there.
There it is.
All right. I'm gonna try and heat this up and raise it up some. Probably gonna crack on me. Pause. All right, we are going over to light this bad boy up. First thing you do is make sure your system's sucking down, which it is. Then you hook up your blow hose. Need some heat. You got a lighter?
Yeah.
Oh, I got one right here. Probably hasn't been lit the whole time. I'm heating this up so I can adjust it to this. So I kind of eyeball it up, and then I'll heat it up again right here. Let it fall. Got plenty of time to line them up. Now they're pretty much lined up. Now you heat them up. I'm 1/8 inch apart from each other. As soon as I notice them getting hot, I'm going to touch them together and puff. And then I'll hold it there, pull back, puff again. Here we go. It is got a hole. You can tell. No, it doesn't. Shut your blow hose. Open. Hear that gurgle? That's the vacuum pump. Now I use mica and any of the close bends. You got all kinds of sizes laying on the table. Mica is a stone that voltage doesn't jump through. The voltage is coming in these electrodes, so you want to have a little extra mica there. This is a really thick piece. And it's got a bend in it. Here we go. Don't really need it here, but I'm putting it. Now you hook up your wires. These are handmade. I don't know. I use them to hold the wire up. All right. While I did all that, it was sucking down. Now we can shut your U gauge, shut your Tor gauge, shut your main vacuum, add a little air back in. That's air. Takes them out. Amps down. Turn it on. That's air lighting up inside the tube. Air heats up quickly. I use a timer. So I'll stay at about 0.2 amps for a good minute. That'll get the glass up to about 140 degrees, which is about what, 38 or so Celsius, I think. I don't know. I think we want it at 100 Celsius, really, which would be 100 Celsius, I think, is 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Something like that. Is that right? Do I know the right answer? All right. I'm just killing time. We're at 50 seconds. Usually it takes about a minute to get it hot. Let's see where we're at. I'm going to let some of the impurities out. 118, 120. Yeah, that's. You want it to be like 100 Celsius. That starts getting the impurities out. It's sucking them out right now through this pump. Then there's my diffusion pump, which I left on the other day, so I need some oil. All right. Shut your main. Let some air back in. I'm at about 0 amps. There we go. 10 mil electrodes heat up fast, so you've got to get the glass hot before you get the electrodes hot. That's the tricky part. And you want to evenly heat the little electrodes. That's even trickier. Because it always seems like one of them wants to get hotter faster. If that happens, just back off, lower your amps, and add in some more air, suck out some air so that this will rise when you have impurities in the tube. I'm still only at 0.2 amps. I don't know. I haven't really been noticing if the electrodes are starting to turn red yet. Time to pay attention. It's my little MTV sign. We just made it. Video's long, so I'll probably post this video as a whole video, and then this is a separate video, and yeah. This is classic gold and classic ruby red, 10 and 8 mil. Once again, I'm killing time. What's everybody going to be for Halloween? I'm going to be Sasquatch. It's going to be crazy. Jack's Links. I'm going to be passing out Jack's Links. All right, the electrodes. See, I'm going really slow. I could have heated this up fast. Let's check our temp. This whole process should take about 3 minutes, but when I'm doing a demo like this, I'm at 200 Celsius now. I take a little extra time because I'm explaining stuff, doing stuff. Add in some more air, let some air out. Now I'm just going to finish her off. The electrodes were starting to get red together, so that's what you want. All right, I'm going to raise my amps to 0.3 amps. With these tiny electrodes, you don't want to go past that. 0.3 amps. Now I'll stay there for about 15 seconds. It's already been 3 seconds. And then you let it cool down for a good 5 minutes it takes. All right. Electrodes are hot. You get these little ones too hot, it fries them. So that's hot enough. We're still slightly red. Now, we'll be back. Now that everything's cooled down, we can add in the gas. So I'm shutting the U gauge, I'm shutting the Tor gauge, the main, and now we can add in some gas. So the argon is over here, which that's what we're putting in the tube. As soon as I open this valve, this liquid should move. Probably have to do it 3 times. This way I'm not releasing a whole bunch of argon into the tube. Now we'd turn down the amps and test it. Looks good. Shut off my dead man switch. And as I heat this up, it sucks in on itself. And you can pull them apart and it's sealed. Then you remove all the mica, disconnect your leads, bring it over here. I already have a unit burning in. Turn it off. Hook the leads up to this. I just want to make sure it lights. It's lighting. So now that'll go away. And add in the mercury. It's in. I'm gonna put my wrist right here. When you heat up, tubulation. As it gets hot, you back off and pull. There we go. Now when that tubulation cools, I can run the mercury through the tube and burn in the unit. We're gonna run the mercury through the tube and then paint the unit and then burn it in. Just so you can see how it's painted. Kind of rushing things. Normally I'd let that sit over here for a good 20 minutes. Now you open up your U gauge, open everything back up, close this, and then it can suck down and you'll be ready for your next unit. Okay. Now here's the mercury. I have to get the mercury from here over to here. This is the game. So you get it in the, now you can see some of it is still on the electrode and some of it is in the glass. So now I can follow it around. I'm already in the T. At the top of the T should be in the other electrode. See it in there?
Yep.
Now I'm going to paint it. One thing I normally am not allowed to do Mix up the paint a little bit. Looks right without the paint. So we paint it here. I like to just glob it on. Make it look like it was dipped. So I'm really messy. Try not to get any on yourself. I usually dip and swoosh. One dip for one part. Yeah, I mean, this mat will not come off the floor. It's painted to the floor. Then if you got a tight bend, you can just do a, slab a bunch on it. It goes right over through. Make sure you get the back. MTV. Now, unplug this. These wires up. Now this is going to burn in while it's wet. You got to be careful that the wires don't touch anything crazy. It'll arc out and die. But the little MTV still dim right here as the mercury vaporizes. This will brighten up. So I have a fan on this, which I'll turn it off. And yeah, there you go. That's how you make an MTV neon.